I thank God that my parents dedicated me to the Lord. He has always been there for me. He has always had divine intervention. At 18 months of age, I was run over by a car. And as most people know, this was back in the 1950s. Cars were really heavy, and most children did not survive at that time. But I did, and I thank God that He was there for me, brought me through, because every child that's born has a divine destiny with God. The next time that God prevented me from being in a really worse situation, I was about 18. We went on a youth trip, went down to Six Flags over Texas. We were having a great time, mountain swimming pool, and I decided I'm going to do a backflip off the diving board. I did my backflip, came down and hit the edge of the diving board. There was blood all over that pool. They managed to get me out of there and drug me to the hospital. I didn't have a concussion, and that's the only reason I didn't, was because God was with me. Again, God was in my life. When I was about 40, I changed to a new doctor because the insurance plans changed. This doctor looked at me kind of funny, and what's all these lumps in your throat? That's your thyroid. He took a test. When he got the results back, he called me into his office immediately and says, I don't know why you're not in a coma. Look at this chart. I can show you these numbers. Look at these numbers. Anybody that has these numbers is always in a coma. I was up walking around and feeling fine. God does intervene, and I thank God for it. In July of '03, God was there again. I was in so much pain I couldn't straighten up. I was bent over. I went to the urgent care center and said, oh, you just got a cold. Don't worry about it, go home. Well, I did go home, but only for a couple of days, and I had to go to the emergency room. When they finally got me there, they said, we're going to take you into surgery right away. They did, and instead of cutting just where they thought it might be the problem with, it might have been a gallbladder, they cut me completely open from here to here. And my gallbladder was full of stones, but they made one mistake. They stopped my digestive system, and they couldn't get it started. I was in the hospital a month and a half, and they had these big jars, if you've ever had an NG tube, that fill with bile from it that's stuck down your stomach. I filled 2 of those a day for a month and a half, and I lost about 40 pounds. But God was with me, and the bowels and everything started working again. I just thank Him that no matter what you go through, He's always there with you because He is your friend. Next time around, July of '06, God visits me pretty frequently, or else I'm terribly klutzy, I'm really not quite sure. But I went to the colonoscopy doctor, and he said, well, you just have a tear in your colon. He gave me some nitroglycerin to put on it. You'll be fine. 2 more days again went by, and I was in so much pain, I went to the emergency room. When the doctor got in there, he touched it. It was an abscess. It burst when he put his fingers on it. The only thing that saved me from having to go in and have a colostomy and other surgeries is because part of that abscess was sticking out, where they knew what to do, and he bled most of the junk out of it. But God protected me from a far worse situation, just as I know He will do for you. In August of this year, 2010, God was with me again. I was at work by myself, and apparently I had a heart attack. I slumped on the floor. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't call out for help. It eventually passed. I stood up, and instead of going to the hospital like I should, I kept on working. When I got into surgery, they were in the dye-up, and they said, you have 10 blockages in your heart. They replaced 5 of them, and He's been very good. And I've asked God since then, because I was without work and no pay because I was on medical leave. How am I going to pay for these bills? What am I supposed to do? And He told me, don't worry about it, I'll take care of you. And every time we've had a bill come in, there's been a check come in the same day and took care of it. Every bill's been paid on time and in full. And I thank God, because He really does love us.